Hello everyone and welcome back to Algebra 2 with Mr. Malcolm. Today is April 27th, 2020. We'll be looking at lesson 9.05, sinusoidal functions. And this is the Think About It section. As you can see over here, this is the Think About It section from your worksheet for today, or from the slides for today. And we'll be going through it together. Now, the first thing that I would like you guys to do is to ensure that in your notebook, you have today's lesson, the title, and the date, and you are ready to go. So pause this video real quick and get yourselves ready. Okay, pause. All right, welcome back. I'm hoping that you paused and you did what you're supposed to do. Now, as we move on into the video, I would like you guys to also have your graphing calculators out. And if you don't have a graphing calculator out, what we'll be using today is Desmos graphing calculator. And the website is right there. Okay? So if you need to reference that, you can use that. All right. So for today, we'll be looking at graphing the sine function. What does it look like? Okay. But before we do that, we have some values here in the table that we need to convert into the sine of it. So if the angle is 0, what does sine of 0 equal to? Now, in order to do this, there are several ways, as I explained before. You can plug that into your calculator. Just remember to make sure that it's in radians. And you can do sine of 0, which would give you 0. Okay? Or you can reference the unit circle that we talked about earlier. And if you look at 0 degrees, okay, sine of 0 would give you, the sine value out here is 0, whereas the cosine is 1. Okay, so you could use this as a means of getting the answers also. And thirdly, if you put this into your graphing calculator, as we'll do later on, you'll see how we end up with the same thing. So if you put it in, you do f of x equals sine of x. Okay, and this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so we'll zoom in on that a little bit, and this is what our ultimate graph is going to look like. F of x equals cosine of x. Okay, make sure you put in your parentheses. Those will come in handy later on. Okay. All right. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's use one of the methods. So let's use our unit circle as a method of getting the answer, since we get both the sine and the cosine all in one. So for 0, we have 0 for the sine, and we have 1 for the cosine. For pi over 2, we have 0 for the cosine and 1 for the sine. For pi, we have -1 for sine and 0 for the sine. For 3 pi over 2, down here, we have 0 for cosine and -1 for the sine. For 2 pi, we have 1 for cosine, 0 for the sine. For negative pi, what do you think the answer will be? Okay, if regular pi gives us a -1 and 0, what would negative pi give us? Okay, if you're not sure, what you can do is do -1, then you do the sine of that. Okay, which would give you this value. However, we want an exact value. So the next thing that we can do, if you're still not sure and you need the exact value, what you would do is you can go on your graph and you go over to, scroll in a little bit. Okay, if you go on your graph, okay, we have -1 there. At -pi/2, we can see that we can get the value for cosine, which would be 0. Okay, and the value for the sine, same place, would be -1. What about for pi? Over here, for the sine, it would be 0. And for the cosine, it would be -1. Okay, what about for, let's zoom out a little bit. What about for -3/2 pi? Okay, -3/2 pi, the sine would be 1. And the cosine would be 0. What about for -2 pi? Should be somewhere here, right? -2 pi, the cosine, which is in blue, would be 1. And the sine, which is in red, would be 0. Okay, so a little bit of all three methods to figure out your answers there. Okay, that's the nice little cheat sheet method. Now, the second part of the question asks you to graph these. Now, I already took the liberty of graphing these on the Desmos graphing calculator. So this would be the answer for the second part. Okay? So I hope this helps. And now you have a means of finding or converting these factors using multiple different methods. Okay? All right. I will see you in class. Please use this video to help get all the problems done today. Thank you for your time, and don't forget to leave a comment of what was clear and what was not clear so that I can fix that issue and make it better for the next video. All right, thank you very much. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.